Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I've got one. I've got 3 locks going today, plus the free play of Ole Miss, South Carolina. So, interesting day yesterday. We didn't play the Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State Z team game, unfortunately. They won by 100. Let's go through those scores. So last night's games. Jacksonville State 63, Kennesaw State 24. They were laying 16. My score was 42-6 Jacksonville State. It's again the Z team, good offensive team, Jacksonville State. Houston 30-19. I had that game totally wrong. I had TCU 37-3. Funny part is I liked the under, which stayed under. It was 51, but I didn't see that. Houston changed quarterbacks. So what do? You see the score. It's a weird score. You're like, wait a minute, this isn't what I expected. I expected TCU to struggle scoring on this strong Houston defense, but Houston getting 30. So I looked and they changed quarterbacks. That's what I warned you of. They'll change quarterbacks on you now without you knowing. And then that's why you look in the box score to go, what happened? Okay, we see what happened. Now we have a little different. Houston now with a good defense. The coach is too good to sit there and lose every game. So he's finding another quarterback, switching it. So Donovan Smith stinks. And we all know he stinks. So he switches to Chris, I think's his name, and played much better. They scored 30 points. I don't think they scored 30 points all year. My first lock, I lose. Vegas even to Syracuse, 41-31. I was surprised, or 44-41. What am I talking about? 44-41, and this game went to overtime. I'm winning the game 41-30. No, I'm winning the game 38-31 with 27 seconds left. And Syracuse scores a late touchdown. It goes to overtime. Vegas kicks a field goal, and Syracuse scores a touchdown. So 44-41. I was a little surprised that Syracuse scored that much on Vegas. Kind of a unfortunate game. Vegas had just blown out Fresno State, so I was really shocked. Syracuse with all these points. Stanford had beaten them, so didn't see this coming, obviously. Vegas is a very good team, so I don't know. They were at home. Oregon 31-10 over Michigan State. I had 44-10, so I had the 10 part right. Michigan State fumbled at the goal line again. I guess they did that a few times against Ohio State. The quarterback doesn't know what he's doing when he gets into inside the 5. He's carrying the ball out, and they just swiped it away from him. So the quarterback fumbled at the goal line early in the game. I did warn you that the Michigan State coach was the Oregon State coach, so he would know how to play them, and I think that happened. 31-10. They win by 21. They were laying 23. They cover in a teaser, but not in real life. I circled the over 52, thinking I would get more points, and I get 41. So the over would not have worked. Michigan State's more of an under team, so it's hard to play over on an under team. Oregon, I thought would score more. I thought it would be 44-10, so 31-10. Should have been probably a little bit more. Oregon State, Michigan State had 2 interceptions in their end zone as Oregon's trying to score. So that was very surprising. Gabriel did not. If he does that against Ohio State next week, forget about it. I think there was an early line I saw, which we'll discuss in a minute. So that was last night's games. So again, it's Friday. So the betting against the Z team, Sam Houston wins, Jacksonville State wins. Houston actually doesn't play like an under team. They hold TCU to 19. See, that's my whole the theory here, right? If a good defense can stop a good offense, Houston's defense stopped TCU's offense with the 19. Where it didn't get stopped was Jacksonville State playing a 30 defense in Kennesaw State, right? So they were able to move. Had Jacksonville State played Houston, they would have got shut out. So by finding the weak defense, you're able to win. Syracuse and Vegas. Now, I had Vegas winning 28-14. Syracuse was an 8 team. I also thought it should have been a 14-point line. It was only 6, which is what made me lock the game. I had 28-14. Now, Vegas with the 14 defense, and you just killed Mikey Keene. Syracuse with the 23 defense. So I thought Vegas, the score at the end was 38-38. I thought Vegas would get to 38, but with that defense, I'm shocked that Syracuse got the points they're getting. McCord wasn't that good at Ohio State. So anyway, can't win them all, unfortunately. I want to talk about an email I got this morning. One guy likes the old format. We don't need to mention names. So he likes the old format. He says, I like when you gave all the picks out for nothing, and then I could choose who I wanted to bet. And I said, well, we're talking $25. We're talking where I'm giving you, I never gave my picks and my locks when I would just go through the games and say, here's who I think would win. You didn't know if it was my pick or not. You just saw how I was picking each game. And he doesn't want to pay the $25. And this is a gambling class. This is betting on football, right? And yeah, we get off into some stories, the girls, the trips and stuff, which we still do. And gold, we still talk about. I've sort of broken it into 2 classes. We football and we do a gold class, but I still talk gold. But the gist of it is, if you're a bettor, you're buying my picks. That's the idea, right? So I'm showing you my skill, and then I show you how well I do, and I show you my history on my site. And then you can, do you want my picks? Now, if you want to choose, which game do I want to bet on, then just bet it. You can ask for my advice on the game here. I'm not going to give you a score, but I could say, yeah, bet it or don't bet it, or it's not one of my picks, or it is one of my picks. But I don't think it's a waste of time to have the class if you want to bet. Right? So if you want to bet, you want my advice on who I like. That's what the $25 class is who do you like? Who are your locks? Oh, these are your locks. Oh, I should bet on your locks. If you want to make your own decisions, then that's fine. make your own decisions. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Is I'm kind of giving you some flavors, like an over team, an under team, the points, the injuries, and you can use that data to make your picks. But if you want to make your own picks, make your own picks. The class for $25, which I can't imagine is breaking anybody, is just to get here are my picks, here are my locks. That's what we're doing with it. So if you want it, you can you can just go and pay $100 for the week, or $75 for college or pro, and you get my picks that way, or in the class. And then we can, here's the locks, here's who I put with who. So you can do either way there. But here, I'm not going to give you my picks for nothing, because the people who are paying get upset. So I don't know why that's so hard to understand. Well, if you pay for my advice, you don't want me to give it away for free if you're paying for it. So this is a class to go over. Here's the line change. Here's how I rate the teams. Here's the Z teams. I do tell you that. I'm a little confused by the email. I'm not sure what he wants. You want all my games for free, but you don't want to go to the class because it's too expensive. Okay, that's your prerogative. But this is how we're doing it. And, it's nice to get everything for free. I'd like to go to an attorney and get his advice for nothing. That would be nice. Oh, I got to pay for it? Oh, no. I'm just, I don't want to do that. So sorry, but I give you a free pick. But if you want to make your own selections, then go right ahead. If you want my commentary on your selection, then, it's going to cost you $25 for that. Get tax advice for free. Good luck. All right, let's go through the lines. All right, Penn State. Let me just refresh. Sometimes you go into a site and then you got to refresh it. Penn State 28, 46 and a half. That was 27 and a half, 28, 46 and a half. UCLA is the Z team there. Penn State's been playing better offense. They are an A team with the 12 defense. UCLA is the Z with the 31. I would expect Penn State to score a lot on UCLA. They did play Oregon. Now, they do have good players. They're not your Kennesaw State Z team. They're a Big Ten Z team. So they've got UCLA's got some talent. Their coach is in over his head. Quarterback's terrible. So just be careful. But Penn State should win, but UCLA's got players. I mean, it's not, it's not going to be 62-0. Navy 10.5, 10, 37 to the Air Force, up from 9. So let's call it 10. And it's 37. So it's, decent over. Navy's been playing well. They're an A team, 24 defense. Air Force is an under team. They're not scoring. With teams like Army, Navy, Air Force, you need a good quarterback. So without the quarterback, they're 21 defense, which is a little high for them, but they're just not scoring. And they got killed by Wyoming, who's a terrible team. So hard to say, but beware of the rivalry game. Army, Navy, Air Force, the Commander-in-Chief trophy. Air Force will play its best game of the year today. We'll see if it's enough. Louisville 755 to SMU. There's still a 6.5, 55.5. This was 56.5. So the smart bettors are on the under. I don't know why. They're both A teams. 21 defense for SMU, a 16 for Louisville. Louisville, I love their quarterback Shaw from Texas Tech, I believe. And SMU, they've switched their quarterback Stone wasn't working out, and they switched. Now, they beat Florida State by 60 points last week, which is surprising. I mean, Florida State, I believe, still has a defense unless Uglia Buglia throws all these pick sixes where the defense isn't out in the field when they're giving up. I know he gave up a pick six last week. This should be a very good game. It's hard. Do I want to really bet against Louisville at home? But do I want to take Louisville against SMU? This goes back to my Philadelphia-Cincinnati story in Vegas, where Boomer Esiason got me the last minute of the game, where I bet Philly even, and they're laying 7. I got them down to 1. They're winning by a touchdown. Cincinnati, Boomer Esiason scores at the end, and I'm like, well, why didn't I bet the dog? Why did I bet the favorite? And that reminded me of that last night, and I think it's the same thing here. SMU, Louisville, you don't know who's going to win, so therefore it's hard to take Louisville. You don't have a 30 defense here. You have a 21 defense. So this should be an A game, which is tease the dog. Missouri, Texas A&M 2.5, and 47.5 was 48.5. Missouri's an A team. They're a top team. They've been struggling but winning. They struggled against Vanderbilt, but they won the game. And I'm not sure that Vanderbilt, A&M, there's much difference. A&M look weak against Arkansas. I don't like their quarterback. So it's basically A versus B. Missouri, I think, is a very live dog here. 12 defense against an 18. So this game should be close. You can't say, oh, A&M will win, and you can't say Missouri will win, but you can, but it should come down to late in the game. Army Tulsa, Army 14.50.5. This has gone from 11 to 12 to now 14. And still 50.5. So the money's going on Army. Tulsa, an E team with the 35 defense. Army is an A team with an 11 defense. Now we know the competition isn't the same, but Army's still playing well. They've added the wrinkle into their offense where they if the safeties aren't deep, they just throw the ball to the wide receivers deep, and they're scoring touchdown after touchdown because they just basically aren't they're not covering the receiver. I mean, if they put man on him and he just goes right by the cornerback and he's wide open. So Army's added that little fire to the fuel. So they'll run it down your throat, but if you leave my receiver open, and they have 2 wide receivers now, not the wishbone with 1 tight end, they're just throwing it and they're hitting it and they're scoring. I mean, they get 40 points a game. They're an A team. So an A team against Tulsa's an E, but with a 35 defense. So they're probably more of a W. They can score, but Army's defense has been playing well, obviously, in 11. BC, Virginia. In this game, Virginia is 1.5, 52.5. And BC's quarterback's back. So he missed last week with an injury. He's back. He's okay. The new coach from New England is okay. We went New England, Houston, Penn State, Bill O'Brien, I think. So they got a decent coach. Virginia's been playing well. So it's a tight game. It's probably a take the dog game. 24 defense for Virginia, 16 for BC. Like I said, they did. He wasn't playing last week. Virginia's been scoring more, but this should be a very good. No, this is an even game here. Wisconsin 12-44.5. Good God, I think it was 14. I keep scratching out 14, 12, 13, and it ends up being a blob. Wisconsin 12 and 44.5 to Purdue. Wisconsin's been they got Van Dyke hurt. The backup isn't that good. Purdue's terrible. I mean, they got a 33 defense. Now a lot of it is giving up 60 points to Notre Dame, but they're a Division I team, and you give up 60 points, that tells me your defense sucks. Or there was a lot of pick sixes and block punts. I think there was a block punt in the game. Anyway, so you got a 33 defense in Purdue, a 27 in Wisconsin. So Wisconsin doesn't even have their 10, 15 defense, but they did play Alabama, and they lit them up for 40 points. 2 weak offenses, 308 yards. Well, this is a game I run away from. Purdue with the W, Wisconsin an under team. How can I play an under team minus 12? Are they going to take advantage of the weak defense? See, that's the thing with an under team. Wisconsin, Purdue with the 33 defense, but Wisconsin, if Van Dyke was there, maybe, but they don't have Van Dyke to do that. Hey, Ron. Okay, well, I didn't say it was you emailing me either, did I? I just said a email. No, I'm just trying to make the comment that this is I can't give all the. So you buy my picks and then I'm giving them away for free. You're pissed, right? You go, well, wait a minute, I paid for them. That's the point of the class. So not a problem. Again, I didn't name names. It's just somebody had sent it. So no problem. You can watch the video whenever you want. It's a private video. So what happens in the video, it's private. I would use your email and whoever else is on it. And then when you get a chance, you can go into the private because your email is on there. So not a problem to see the private email, or if you don't have time to watch it, but you want my picks, I would email you my picks. And when you get a chance, watch the video. So there's no problem there. I thought you said it was a waste of your time to pay for it. So I will reread the email, but I didn't mean to offend you. I'm trying to explain the class and the private video and why I changed here where I can't give all the scores out like now. I'm trying to help, saying they're an over team, a Z team. If you like Wisconsin, Purdue, I'm kind of saying, well, Wisconsin doesn't score without Van Dyke. Purdue sucks. Good luck on that game. But that's all I'm saying is because I want the feedback. I want to understand what's going on here. I know people like it, but I know they like the picks, but I can't just here's my locks, here's my picks, and not charge and people paying for them. Hey, wait a minute, I'm paying. Well, why should I pay? I can just get them for free. And that's really what the gist of it was. So no problem, Ron. It's fine. Again, I didn't name you. You just named yourself, but no, I mean, you bought from me before. You're a long time friend. So yeah, I don't mean anything by it. I'm just saying, if that's what the problem, you never said, we could make a time I could do it. What time are you available? I could do it Friday afternoon. I don't have to do it Friday night, but I want to do it Friday because after I get my picks in, we could do it Thursday afternoon because I did play both Thursday games, Texas State and Sam Houston. I lost the lock in Vegas, but we started the class before, but whatever you want. If you want, I'll email you the picks if you prefer that. But no, that's the intention is for the 25, you go, and then I walk you through everything. Well, here's my score. Here's who I like. Here's my locks. So that's the difference in the class versus this class. Well, I mean, feel free to, Ron. And if there's a certain time you want to, I can give you the video. I can do the video live with you at time. Otherwise, it's by email. So you would go to the private video and you would type in your email and you'd have access to it. Not a problem at all. Hey, Real D. JMU versus Lou Monroe should be a battle. Well, James Madison's been scoring all these 70 points, but on North Carolina, not on Kennesaw State. Like Jacksonville State puts up 63 on Kennesaw State, but James Madison did it on North Carolina. And then last week they won 63-7, killing Ball State. And now Ball State's an over team. They got a terrible defense. Yeah, I mean, because James Madison this week, I'm scared to play him because Lou Monroe's got a 20 defense, and they are 3-1, but they played nobody. They do play, but they're playing like Sunbelt teams, so they're not playing great teams. They didn't beat Lou Lafayette or anything, so they're not a bad team. But I still think James Madison, the quarterback, just fast. So I don't know. I wouldn't bet against James Madison, not the way they're scoring, but yeah, I don't know. I think they win today, but yeah, it could be closer. Ron, why not record your 25 video so I can go watch it? Well, it is recorded, but when you pay, the reason it's private, it's then asked for emails. So I would need to put your email. So if you pay for it, I would add your email to the list of people who could watch it. It is recorded and it's out there, but it's there as a private. This is a public video, right? It asked me, do you want to make it private or public? I said, no, everybody can watch it, but the ones that for the payment are private and email. So if you pay, I would add your email to the private, and then you can go watch it whenever you want. That's the idea, is that I'll add, however 10 people pay for it, I'll have 10 emails on there, and then they can go watch it. So you just go to my private email, my private videos, and type in your email, and it should work. If it doesn't, then I'll give you the pics, and we'll figure out why. But that's the gist of it. So yeah, that's the point. But it's based on your email. So you can't watch it because you didn't pay and I didn't put your email on. But if you pay, so next week you pay, I'll add your email to it, and then you can watch it whenever you want. So that's the gist of it. Okay. Well, it's not pay-per-view, really. It's pay-for-class. It's just a private class. I don't want 100 people watching me give all the picks out and they didn't pay for it. And as you can see, if you pay for it, you don't want me to give it out to people that didn't pay for it. So it's not really, I don't have Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant matches on, but that's the gist of it. It's just trying to give the picks. Instead of having you pay $100, you can watch the video with the explanation that you like, and it's just 25 pro, 25 college. If you want the picks, just send me $25. I'll send you the picks now for college and or pros. Just send me $50. Here's my picks. Not a problem. I mean, I'm happy to do that. Really, I'm just giving you, when I go through the games, I basically let's go through the free pick. Ole Miss, South Carolina. Ole Miss is an A team. South Carolina is a B team. My score on the game's 37-24. So this is what it's like in the class. My score in the game's 37-24. Mississippi's a 13 defense. South Carolina's a 17. Ole Miss gets 580 yards a game, and South Carolina gets 323, I believe, after Mississippi lost. And it's only a 53 total, that this should go over 47. Again, the score being 37-24 is a 61. We only need 47. The reason it's a free play and a strong play in my picks is because the number's so low. South Carolina, when you look at them, they played LSU 37-34. They played a 71 with LSU. They can score. They've been scoring 30 points a game lately. And Ole Miss, not going to score 60, but against Wake, they put up 40. Last week was a real tough Kentucky defense who had confidence stopping Georgia. This week, Mississippi's off of a loss, so they're going to be pissed. And South Carolina, they didn't stop LSU. They're not going to stop Ole Miss here. They got a 17 defense, but they're okay. But I look at the LSU game. Like yesterday with Vegas, I looked at the Fresno State game and said, shit, they killed Fresno State and they were at home. And I thought they were a 14-point favorite and their line comes out 6. So that's what the class is. Or you can get, here's your free pick, or here's your picks. 70 to 25 ago, here's the picks. Take Ole Miss over, take Vegas even, and off we go. And I give you the units that I play, so you know to play those stronger than the others. That's how it is. Do you have Cash App or Venmo? You can Venmo me. I had somebody pay me on Venmo. I don't have it set up on Teaserking, but Venmo's fine. And just tell me what you want, or you can give me 50 and I'll give you the whole shot, or just say I want your college or I want your pros. Anyway, we'll go through that. So yeah, no problem. Venmo's fine. Just use my email that you just emailed me on. Not a problem. Pitt, North Carolina. Pitt 2.5 and 64. This is an over game. Pitt scores a lot. North Carolina, I don't know. They 21-20. They blew the lead to Duke. But Duke's a pretty good defensive team, and they don't score a lot. Pitt scores a lot. They got a good quarterback. Eli something. 26 defense and a 28 defense. Now, part of that's skewed by the 70 that James Madison put on him. But then you wonder, well, wait, Pitt might put up a 70 on him. So we will see. It's a 2.5, 64, 63.5. So I think Pitt puts up a lot, but they are favored in the game. So I don't know. Maybe you can play it over. I wouldn't play North Carolina in 8.5. Pitt might really blow them out, but this is one of those games. I think the only way you can play it would be over, but I didn't play it. I don't trust North Carolina's offense to play with it. Again, if Pitt goes up 44-0, you're not going to get your over. So be careful there. So unless you like Pitt plus 3.5, then I'd be careful. Northern Illinois is 15-41.5. Where the hell are they? Northern. Okay. Down. This is strange. The money's going on UMass. Really? 41.5, down from 44.5. There must be an injury in this game. For Northern Illinois, you go down to 15 and to 41.5. The problem is Covers isn't giving updated injuries. If I look at injuries, Northern Illinois, yeah, see, the latest is September 7th. Maybe nobody got injured, but okay. So I don't know. But with that said, Northern Illinois, I don't know. They went from a 700 offense to 417 yards a game, a balanced attack. UMass is a Z team, 31 defense. Northern Illinois, if they're going to light up somebody, would light up them just like they lit up the first game. And since they beat Notre Dame, they haven't won a game against, Buffalo and, Old Dominion. And you're like, so if they don't blow out UMass, there's something wrong with them, but we'll see. NC State Wake, NC State 3.5, 51.5. Wake's an over team, but I don't like their quarterback, Backenmeyer. He sucked at Boise. He sucked last year. I don't see him getting any better. NC State, they're terrible. So you got a 31 defense against a 34 defense. NC State gave up 100 points to Tennessee and Clemson. I think they gave up 60 points in both games. Not good. Can't bet on them. You can only play this game over if you trust it. 51, over 45 is not bad with these defenses. NC State, I don't know if Grayson McCall's playing. His stats are terrible. They're like 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. So he's not getting the stats. Basically, I don't know. It's a tough one because the defenses suck. Both teams are over. So, yeah, it's kind of a rivalry. They're both in North Carolina, Wake Forest is, but yeah, I think it's an over because it's so low. 51. All we need is 45, and there's no defense on the field. We could get there, but the quarterbacks are kind of weak. Under what name? Just use my name. Don't you put in my email? I'm not familiar with Venmo. I had one guy who bought my picks, paid me on Venmo. I think you can just use the email. Is it asking you for my name? Can you put in Howard, or do you need everything? Or I don't know how much information you need, but I thought you just needed the email address. So not really sure. Let me know. I mean, try putting in the email and sending and see what it says. And if it says first and last name, then I can give it to you. Tulane UAB. Tulane is 17.5, 54. That number hasn't moved. Tulane's starting to play well. An A team. UAB's an E team. And after I took out the high school team, they're a 36 defense. So Tulane should have fun today. Well, you ain't getting the gold, but no problem. Yeah, the gold, you'd have to pay me. You'd have to give me a lot on Venmo to get my gold. Let's see. Ball State, Western Michigan. Western 10 and 57.5 to Ball State. Up from 9.5. Little Western betting. They're both W teams. Ball State with the 49 defense. Jesus. I think they played Ohio State or Tennessee and gave up 60 points. And Western is a 36 defense. Over under a 56. Both teams get about 300 yards of offense. This is a confusing game. They're kind of weaker offenses going against shit defenses. So we will see. Buying and holding, I assume gold. Yeah, well, it's about to go really high. October 22nd, the BRICS gold back. They're calling for 3,500 to set the BRICS to gold. But I believe gold will still be able. Zimbabwe didn't fix their dollar to gold at a specific price. They just said it's backed by gold, and as the price of gold goes up, then that's what the price of their ZIG does. Saving up for a buffalo ounce. Those are nice. Just buy a Cougaran ounce. It's $50, $60 cheaper. Again, you're buying the ounce of gold. It doesn't matter what the character is on the outside. Oh, that's good. And you can buy quarter and half ounces too. So I bought a quarter ounce a couple of weeks ago for $7.22. I used to buy them for $3.50. But this way, it's $600-$700, but it's a quarter ounce of gold. So you don't always have to buy an ounce. And sometimes you might not want to cash it in, right? I need some money. I'll cash in my quarter ounce. And I get 700 and whatever for it. Where the ounce, okay, you're going to get $26.50 for it, but you might not need. I only need $700. I only need $1,000. That's why I buy quarter ounces and half ounces and 10, as well as ounces. I buy the whole kit and caboodle. But yeah, get as much. But your time's running out, and then go buy some silver at 32. That's about to hit 50 very soon. They don't have supply. All right. Eastern Carolina, 8.5, 47 to Charlotte. Oh yeah, this is the next page. So it jumps about 10 games on me here. 8.5, 47. It's been 8 and 47. East Car's pretty good team, a B team. 19 defense. Charlotte, the Z team, they did beat Rice last week. They're still a Z team statistically with 33 defense, but Rice is a very bad team, doesn't score, where East Carolina is a pretty good team. I think they played Tulane to a real close game. So, again, you can bet against the Z team and only lay 8.5. App State and Marshall. You got 10 of the 110. Yeah, I got like 25 of them. I would go and that would be all he had, and it was only 200, and I was getting him at 225 because I got a lot of Maple Leafs. It was like the U.S. was 260, 270, and the Maple Leaf was 220, and then we'll give him the Maple Leaf. Then it's a tenth of an ounce of gold. It doesn't matter. So I would buy 4 or 5 at a time. So I didn't look at it like, well, that's 2,500 and the ounce was selling at, let's say 2,300. I just looked at it like, so it costing me $300, $600. So I'd go with 600 and I was going to buy silver and I'd see those for 250 and I'd go, shit, give me the gold. Give me 2 of the golds instead. But are the libs the same? What I don't understand. What are libs? Liberties? I assume what you're saying is the Maple Leaf versus the Eagle. Are they the same? Yeah, I mean they're both 1/10 of an ounce of gold. If that's your question, quarter ounce is a quarter ounce. It doesn't matter if it's a Philharmonic, a Cougaran, or anything. You'll buy it cheaper, and then like it's a little bit cheaper if you go on eBay. You can see the price difference, but you paid less for it, so it all washes out. But at the end, when gold's 5,000-6,000 an ounce, it's not going to matter. Oh geez, I paid 300. It's now worth 1,000. Do I really care? If I lose $20 because it's a Maple Leaf versus an Eagle, no. All right, so Marshall 357 to App State. Marshall 357 down from 58. The Sharps are betting this game under. App State's a W team. Joey Aguilar is a good quarterback, but their defense sucks. It's a 36. The coach left to probably go to James Madison or something. The new coach sucks. Marshall's an E team, 25 defense. They did play Ohio State, and they actually put up 14 points. They didn't look bad against Ohio State. Again, it's Ohio State. So it's 57. You got a 36 defense and a 25. I would imagine there'd be scoring in this. Aguilar's good. And Marshall's quarterback, I don't know, but they are scoring. They're an E team. So, but again, I'm not really too interested in those games. This one I am interested in. Ohio State 18 and 45.5. This total keeps going up. This is 18, I think was 19. My feeling here is Iowa's not the same 10-0 team that we are used to. They have a very good running back. The quarterback, McNamara, is healthy. He's okay. He did lead Michigan to the title game and got his ass kicked by Georgia, but he was okay. So the point is, I think Iowa's can score a little bit more. We know how dangerous Ohio State is. The new receiver, Will Howard's very good. It's a big game for them. They're both A teams. A 19 defense for Iowa, a 7 for Ohio State. I look at the Iowa State game, 20-19. We have a 45.5, so we need 39.5. And I'm thinking, well, that game went to 39. Ohio State, in a bad day, they beat Michigan State 38-7, which covered the 32. Ohio State scores too much. This is a little too low, I feel. You got a Mexican coin. Okay. Yeah, as long as it says 999 gold on it and you've had it tested at a coin store that says, is this real? I would certainly think I see Mexican coins on eBay. Check it out on eBay. But yeah, as long as you are comfortable, it's real. As long as it's a government thing, like the Philharmonic, I don't worry. Cougaran, I don't worry. Maple Leaf, U.S. As long as the government's minting it and not Joe in the backyard, I think you're fine. But yeah, put a magnet on it, and the magnet should not stick. You can always tell like this. Is this real gold? Well, if I put a magnet on it, it won't stick. So I assume it is. I got it from a nice jewelry store in 1995. But that's how you tell. If it sticks, it's not real. But that's just one of the ways. But I would think it is. So I look for Ohio State here. I look for Iowa to score a little bit on them, and Ohio State will score a little bit on them. Indiana Northwestern, Indiana 13-40, down from 41. Indiana's a very good team this year. They killed UCLA. Last week they beat a good Maryland team, 42-28. That was our lock. We were laying 1. Very strong A team, Indiana, and Northwestern's an under team, a 19 defense, but they only get 276 yards a game. It's at Northwestern. I see Indiana doing its thing. 13 defense against the 19. So Indiana's the better team here. 13.5, 13. I'd like to get it under a touchdown, but this is the difference between a play and a lock, right? If it's 8, it's a lock. At 13, maybe I play. 13.5, maybe I play it. I got to lay 7.5. It's a whole different game. Okay, I'll play it small versus, they were 7 to Maryland last week. That was a lock because they're a very good team. VTech and Stanford. VTech is, let's see. VTech's, this is over versus over. VTech 7.5, 8 and 50, let's call it. 26 defense for both. We saw VTech light up Miami last week. Stanford's been playing pretty good. They did beat Syracuse. So this should be a very good game. Well, you got the travel. Virginia flying to San Francisco to play Stanford. So we will see. I think there'll be points in the game. I think it'll be similar to the Miami game, I think. Toledo, 6.5, 44 to Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is an under team. They played Northwestern like 20-13 or something. Toledo blew out Old Mississippi State. They put up like 45 on them. They're an A team, 6.5. But Miami of Ohio is not a bad team. They lost a close one to Cincinnati. But I don't know they're strong enough to be the dog here because they just don't score enough. But, this should be an interesting game. Bowling Green and Akron, the Bowlers. Where are they? Where's the Bowlers? Here it is. Bowlers 15.5, 49. 27 defense for Bowling Green. Akron with the 40. They're a Z team with 200 yards. They're a terrible team. Bowling Green's been fucking around. They're not winning. They played Penn State close and A&M close, and then they lost to, I think, Old Dominion last week. It's like, how do you play Penn State close and lose to Old Dominion? So I think they should take it out on Akron here. UConn, 18.5, 50 to Temple. Okay, Temple's Z team, UConn's an over team. Very strong running offense, 390 yards, mostly running. Temple, 300, mostly passing. They're a Z team. 37 defense, UConn a 22 defense. Georgia against Auburn. Georgia, 21.5, down from 22.5. and a 51.5 down from 52. I don't know. I mean, Georgia off of a loss that hasn't happened in 3 years because the only time they lose is the SEC championship game or, things like that. Now, they did lose to Alabama a few years ago in the SEC championship game and then killed them in the championship game, right? That was Georgia's first championship. So this is a hard one. I don't know how bad Auburn is. They are a B team with a 24 defense, Georgia with the 15 defense. Milrose ate them up, but Auburn doesn't have that type of quarterback. Georgia's problem is they're not running the ball. I looked at their running. They got Antonine, and that's it. Where's all the power runners that they have? There's no Brock Bowers, of course. There's no big receivers. The kid last week, they could have won the game if the kid went after the ball instead of just he kept running and the ball got intercepted. Like, what's the receiver? You got to stop. There was a back shoulder throw before that. He didn't turn on it. So disappointing, the wide receiver. Hopefully, I'm sure he got better this week. Very tough game. 24 defense for Auburn. They lost to Cal 21-14. Let's look at the matchup here. So if we look at Auburn, all right, they lost to Oklahoma 27-21. Oklahoma has no offense and a fairly good defense, so 21's good there. They lost to Arkansas 24-14. They beat New Mexico 45-19 and lost to Cal 21-14 and beat AAMU, whoever the hell they are, 73-3. So we take that out. Their defense has given up about 22-23 a game. So I adjusted it from 19 to 24. See, that's what I do. So the high school game was 73-3. So it looks like they're higher scoring and a better defense than they really are when they play normal teams. So they lost 21-14 to Cal, 24-14 to Arkansas, 27-21 to Oklahoma. Now, does that instill me that Georgia's going to blow them out? No, not at all. So I think they play with them. 52.5. I don't know. Let's look at Georgia. So they beat Clemson 34-3, beat Kentucky 13-12, and then the wild game last week, 41-34. Because of Milrose, but does Auburn have a Milrose type of quarterback? No. Peyton Thorne's a pocket passer, and I think they're putting the other kid in, but he's not anywhere near Milrose. So I honestly think, what do we got? 34-3 Clemson, 13-12 Kentucky. Auburn with a pretty good defense. I think this game, I don't know. And then the factor is Georgia off of a loss at home are going to be pissed off. So we'll really see how good they are this week. I don't know. I mean, they're going to win. I think it'll be a closer game. I think this line, the line of 21.5 is a little high. It's higher than I want. The over-under of 52, we could probably work with that. That would be my guess. It's hard to see them play a 75-point game with Alabama and say, oh, yeah, they got a great defense. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Bobby Bo, 2 days in a row. How are you today, Bobby Bo? I tell my wife to not put a magnet in with the gold jewelry I bought her over the years. Yeah. Well, she won't know what it is. You'll just say, no. If it sticks, it's real gold. But that's the trick, because the metal will not stick to a magnet like my spoon here would stick to the magnet. My avocado. All right, so Georgia, I think it's too many points. The hard part is factoring in they lost. How are they going to play after a loss? They'll be pissed, but okay, that'll last them the first 5 minutes of the game, and then they got to play. So we'll see. Their running game is not what it should be. Bobby Bo. I don't like Michigan this year, but I do think they can beat Washington. Can't believe Washington is favored. That's crazy. Well, it's because it's at home and Michigan has no quarterback. Let's face it. I don't mind the spread. I think I had Washington -3. Michigan's terrible this year. Their quarterback's terrible. They're running with the linebackers. The running back, the coach can't coach. Their defense isn't as strong. Everybody's passing on it. It's a whole different team. Harbaugh left them dog doo doo. I mean, they're not that good. Washington, okay, they got the Arizona coach. They don't have Penix anymore. Their quarterback is the guy from Old Mississippi State, Will Rogers. He's okay. He's not Penix. You know, what are you going to do with it? But I think Washington wins the game. They played very good against Rutgers, who I think is a lot better than Michigan, and they missed 3 field goals. They could have won that game. So hard to say, but I think Washington wins. I don't think Michigan is going to win unless they get a block punt, a pick six, and everything. They keep getting these pick sixes. Like, okay, you see where that number 10 is? Throw it on the other side of the field because he keeps baiting them where he's on the one receiver, but he's really guarding the other, and they throw it and he jumps the route. Okay, do a stop and go on the guy, and then you see him 20 yards behind him. That's true. 2 teams that are a shell of themselves. Well, that's the NIL and all the coaches going. Washington lost my respect when they lost to Rutgers. Rutgers is a very good team. They are an A team this year. The Mets magic is back. Yeah. The Tigers magic. What the fuck is this? Bobby, they've watered down baseball so badly that a minor league team like the Tigers are winning. And they act like little children. They all sing and dance and hey, we won, we scored a run. And you're like, man, this is not professional. You guys are a bunch of babies. I have no respect for them. I hope they lose, but they're a bunch of children. Yeah, I don't know the Tigers were in the playoffs. I don't know how they got in. They have no pitching. They really have nobody hitting. They have one hitter hitting 280 who gets pinch hit for. They have the worst manager I've ever seen. You got a 280 hitter, and because it's a lefty on the mound, you pinch hit for him. So really, none of their batting averages are real because they never face. So if it's a lefty, they never face lefties. If they're a righty, they never face righties. So how can this guy have a 260 batting average if he never faces left-handed pitching? So the whole thing's bullshit. The problem is the teams they're playing are minor league also. So the bullpen comes out. Look at that Hater. He's no professional. He's a freaking double-A pitcher. He walked the first 2 guys he pitched in a playoff game. He's not. They paid him $19 million. I'd ask for a refund. Weren't they like a last place team last season? Yeah, last 5 seasons. Yeah, I don't watch it either. I just because I'm in Detroit, I hear it and I throw up. Always do like to see my Mets doing their thing though, so I am keeping tabs on their games. Phillies are good because Dave Dombrowski's the Phillies GM. He's a good GM. He gets good talent. All right, let's do a little more football. The free game, Ole Miss, South Carolina, 9.5, 53.5. Really hasn't moved. It was 8.5, 53. We like the over in the game, 37-24, Ole Miss after a loss. South Carolina played LSU 37-34. That's the basis of this play. Ole Miss should be able to put up their 37, and I got South Carolina 24. A freshman quarterback who's like 6'5" and who runs like the wind. Can't throw, but he's a good runner, and they've been scoring with him. They can't really stop him either. So I'm basing it on the LSU game and the fact Ole Miss lost. They should be pissed. And I don't think South Carolina is going to really shut them down. I got a 13 defense for Ole Miss and a 17 for South Carolina. So that's it. Let me see. Ron, did you pay? Let me check my email, and then I can send you the picks because we got noon games. No, you didn't pay, Ron? Are you not paying? So did you pay, Ron, but I haven't gotten an email, or did you not? Or are you thinking about it for next week or whatever? All right. I got to call cheapo. Oh no, I got to call bookings. I booked a private taxi from the airport to my hotel in Naples. It's like a 90-minute drive. Where do you meet these guys? And I told them to put a sign up so I know, here it is. I assume it's right after passport control. You walk out for your bags, that he'll have a sign because I wouldn't know who it is, right? But I already paid, so I want to make sure I get it. All right. So that's your free over Old Mississippi, South Carolina. Big Nebraska, 739 to Rutgers. A versus A. I think this will be a real close game. 16 defense for Rutgers, 12 for Nebraska. Like we said, Rutgers, beat Washington last week. This should be a close game. A team, really, Nebraska's a B team. So let's say it's A versus A. We like taking the dog there. Over under of 40. I almost like the game over because of it's weird, but Rutgers has a really good running back. So I don't know. It looks like an under, but I think it's an over. And I think it's an A against A. I think it'll be a close game. Oak State, West Virginia. Oak State is 3 and 64.5. Let's see. We got a 29 defense for West Virginia, 25 for Oak State. Both teams are over. It's a little high, 64, but it's doable. Should get close to that, I think. I don't know what to do on the game. Oak State, they haven't been using Ellie Gordon, but they should be able to score. West Virginia should be able to score in this one. Alabama, 23, 54.5 to Vandy. Alabama scored 40 points in every game, and they played Wisconsin, who normally has a good defense, and Georgia, who normally has a good defense. 40 points a game. They're just unbelievable. This Melrose is great. The 17-year-old's great. Very strong offense because I knew that with the board. Their defense looked a little questionable last week. Georgia started picking them apart in the second half, so we'll see. I think Vandy can score based on the Missouri game where they played Missouri real tough. TK, I sent test Venmo. I didn't get an email on it. So you were asking me to look at the Venmo. I wonder why I didn't get an email. Okay, let me check. Stunned that Kentucky beat them at Ole Miss last week. Ole Miss pretty much killed their season. Okay, let me check Venmo. Hold on a second. I think I removed the icon, so let me re-add it. Because some guy was paying me on Venmo, And then he stopped, and so I didn't. Where's my Play Store? Oh, there's. Yeah, see, I disconnected it. Maybe that's why I didn't get the email. But I should still be on it. I just didn't keep the app on. Just a second. The security code. I love that. 4075. So I don't see yours. I typed in your name. There's Ron Weiss 26001 and 11. Or I can see more people. But I don't see that I got it. This is weird. Did you get a confirmation that it was sent? You sent a $1 test. There's 2 H Robbins on there. I might be under Teaserking, not H Robbins. So I don't see a $1 from you. Let me search. Yeah, there's Ron Weiss 11. So let me add his friend. I've requested Ron Weiss 11. So that's what it is. So look for that. Again, I don't know what my name is. Let's see. I guess I'm me-1. I'll be with everybody in a second. It's unverified. So I will wait for your thing. Anyway. We'll get it figured out. All right. So where are we at? Oregon State, 11-47.5 to Colorado State. Colorado State's a W team, 29 defense. Oregon State's a B team, 21 defense. Oregon State's a running team. Again, they have a new coach because their other coach is at Michigan. It's at Michigan State. And see that. Look at that little tidbit we picked up yesterday. Was that the Oregon State coach who's at Michigan State? Okay, yeah, I see you paid me $1, so go ahead and pay me the other, and we will be fine. Okay, so I got, yeah, the Joe Namath. I like that. Yeah, so whatever you want to, just let me know what you want, college, you want pro, you want both. So if you give me 50, you get both. And then if you want the college or pro, just then I'll figure that out. And then I'll email you the stuff. So not a problem. Very good. So like we saw, the Oregon State coach was Michigan State, but they had played Oregon a lot. They played them pretty good. They didn't fumble at the goal line, it would have been a lot closer. Anyway, so Oregon State, good running team. Colorado State's kind of a shit team. They struggled against Prime and everything. So 29 defense against 21. Clemson, 15.5. And for you Uglia Buglia fans, he's not playing today. They're switching quarterbacks because he's got a broken finger. Do you believe that one? Okay, Ron. So we're all set. I did get it, and go ahead and complete the transaction, and I'll email you whatever. So no Uglia Buglia. So they'll probably score a lot more points. I had them scoring 10 with Uglia Buglia, but there'll be more. Clemson's been lighting it up. They've been scoring a lot of points. They're an over team. 26 defense. Florida State, an under with the 25. 278. I got a feeling Georgia is going to play like they did against Clemson today, where they just buried them. because you can see Clemson scores 50, 60 points on everybody else but Georgia. So I have that feeling Georgia's going to be very pissed today. So Clemson and over. Okay, I got it, Ron. Okay. Let me email you the stuff. I better do that now. Gotta keep doing that. All right, Ron, you got the Teaserking sheet. It reads across, as you know. So, like Texas State, Sam Houston, teaser's already been done on Thursday night, 7-unit play, but it gives you everything. And notice the 2 locks on the bottom. All right, I'm going to send it to you, and you'll have all the plays. Anybody else, feel free to do that too. All right, back to football. So again, Oogly Boogly is not playing. Who's the new quarterback? Do we know? We don't. So we'll have to see. A second. This is the problem when they switch quarterbacks on you. In the pros, we know the guys, the backups, Joe Flacco, whatever. This is the problem in college. He's probably not that good. Because if he was any good, he would have been starting over Oogly Boogly the whole time. James Madison, Lou Monroe. Read the memo. Okay, well, I'll read it later. James Madison, 1647 to Lou Monroe. James Madison's been lightening it up. They're an A team. Lou Monroe's an under team with a pretty good defense, but they haven't played. So if we look at Lou Monroe to see, well, what are they going to do here? We look at them, and they beat Troy 13-9. They got killed by Texas 51-3. They beat UAB 32-6, and I don't know. I think Jacksonville State 30-14. So they beat Jacksonville State, UAB, and Troy, which are shit teams, and got killed by Texas 51-3. And James Madison killed Ball State 63-7, North Carolina 70-15. Before that, they beat Webb 13-6 and Charlotte 30-7. So what happened in the Webb game? That was Division II. But you can see the last 2 weeks they've been scoring, so you must respect that. Hey, Marks, welcome to the class. How are you? Always excited for new students here. But basically, I'm giving the lines and perspective, ranking the teams and stuff. Old Dominion, Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is 5.5 and 52.5. We got Old D's an under team. They beat a good team a week or two ago. I think they beat Northern Illinois or Bowling Green or something. 27 defense. Coastal Carolina is an over team with a 28. I'm curious on this game. What do we have here? Old Dominion. They beat Bowling Green. They lost a close one to Virginia Tech, 37-17. They lost to East Carr, 20-14, and they lost to South Carolina, 23-19. So they played very good teams, and they played them pretty well. They get Bowling Green, and they beat them. So they should be able to play with Coastal Carolina here. Coastal Carolina gets killed by Virginia, 43-24. They beat Temple. Yeah, we 11 of us could beat Temple. CWM, I don't know who that is, Division II. Jacksonville State, they beat 55-27, which is Rich Rod's team. So that's impressive. Beating Temple 28-20 is not, and get killed by Virginia. I think that, Old Dominion is probably a live dog in this game. Boise State 27-66 to Utah State. Boise's Gentry, great running back. I watched him against Washington State. I watched him against Oregon. You hit him, he doesn't go. He just bounces off, and then he's gone. He looks a lot like Ollie Gordon did last year, and we don't know what happened to Ollie Gordon this year. So Boise, a very strong over team, very strong offense, 500 yards, a lot of running. They can pass. Utah State's a W team with a 42 defense. Once I got the high school team out of it, it went from 36 to 42. I see Gentry scoring early and often in this game. So go Boise, beat Army. I'll beat Navy. I don't like when Army loses. South Alabama, 3-60 to Arkansas State. South Alabama's been explosive and then not. They're an over team. Arkansas State stinks. They're a W team. 35 defense, South Alabama. 39 defense, Ark State. Ark State only gets 296 yards a game. South Alabama, 465. You would think. Now, this is a weird one. I had South Alabama as a 27-point favorite based on they're an over, and Arkansas State's a W. The line's 3. I'm like, okay, I don't fuck up lines. So what the hell are they looking at? And they lost to LSU 42-10. They beat App State 48-14. Northwestern State was that 87-10 game, and then lost to Ohio 27-20, and played North Texas 100-point game, 52-38. So against LSU and North Texas, they give up over 40. Against App State, 14, and Ohio, 27. So the defense is okay, not great. And I'm saying they're a 35 defense. Let's look at Arkansas State. They got killed by, here's what's throwing me off. They got killed by Iowa State, 52-7. They played Michigan State 28-18, but Michigan 28-18, but Michigan threw three picks in the game. They beat Tulsa and they beat Central Arkansas. So we throw out Central Arkansas. So they basically have played 3 games. Tulsa, they won 28-24. Michigan, 28-18 with the 3 picks. And then Iowa State kills them 52-7. So I'm perplexed in this game because they played good teams. And that Michigan 28-18 game really throws me. South Alabama, they lost to LSU, but, that's LSU. Of course they're going to lose to them. I didn't think they'd win. I thought they'd score. So I don't know what you do here. Arkansas State, Tulsa 28-24. So this one's got me puzzled. I think South Alabama wins, but I don't know. I mean, Ark State's playing good teams. So we will watch this game. We'll live to come back another day. Southern Miss Z team against Lou Lafayette. Lou Lafayette 17-57 to Southern Miss. Lou Lafayette 25 defense. Southern Miss a 40. Southern Miss is probably the worst team. Maybe with Akron, they're probably in that league. Z team. Lou Lafayette is the good Lou. There's Lou Monroe. There's Lou Lafayette. Lou Lafayette's the good one. 16 against the 40 defense. Yeah. Go Lou Lafayette. Bobby, good point for LSU beats everyone. Well, how did they lose to USC? I think if they played USC now, they would beat them. That was a weird game. It was the first game for the quarterback. He looked a little nervous. But if they played him now, it's interesting if they can beat Alabama. if they can contain Milrose. Milrose is a good quarterback, but he's also you can't blitz him. You blitz him, but you can't tackle him. Georgia tried, so that'll be a good game because I think Alabama showed weakness against Georgia's passing attack in the second half. LSU will score on them. That's what I got there. If LSU defense can get good, they could be on their way to a second straight. They didn't win the national title last year. Well, their offense is always good with Brian Kelly. That's what he does. Yeah, they keep playing these big-time Week 1 games and losing. Yeah, and you wonder, why don't they just schedule Akron? What's the benefit of playing USC? They're in the SEC. They got enough. Texas and Oklahoma and Alabama and Georgia and now Missouri, Tennessee, Missouri. They got enough teams there that they don't need to, and, look at Texas played Michigan. Why? What are you, crazy? But, yeah. Brian Kelly's always had that good offense. Even at Notre Dame, they just didn't have the defense, but he couldn't recruit as well. But, yeah, well, one of the problems is the All-American linebacker from LSU got hurt. He's out for the year, unfortunately. So that definitely hurts their defense. Michigan-Washington. We got Washington, 1.5, 41. To Michigan. As we've talked, Washington's a B team with a 12 defense, and Rutgers is a very, very good team, and they could have beat up if they could kick field goals. Michigan, I don't think, is a very good team this year. How they beat USC, I have no idea. That was our free pick, take USC, and USC's winning at the end, and they basically hand the ball up the middle, and USC's vaunted defense lets the guy run for 60 yards on a play up the middle. It was unbelievable. And then he scores with 10 seconds left. USC didn't play offense the first half, just like the Wisconsin game. So here we've got Washington at home, better quarterback, better defense, better coach. I don't like Michigan's coach. I don't like their quarterback. Orgy's terrible. And their defense is not. You can pass on the defense. Look at Texas and USC passed all over it. Michigan State could beat Michigan, and we know Oregon's going to beat them, and Ohio State's going to beat them. They're not a very good team. So I think Washington wins this game. Total of 41.5. I mean, Michigan's almost an under in every game, aren't they? I mean, they're quarter. Well, they fucked up last week and they went over because Minnesota scored 3 fourth quarter touchdowns. That shows you there's something wrong. The defense is not like last year. This is not last year's team. Harbaugh's trying to play it in San Diego. He's trying to play. He thinks he's playing Purdue and Illinois every week at San Diego. So I think Washington wins the game. Close game. Probably low scoring because Michigan just plays defense. I mean, that's all they can do. Baylor, Iowa State. Very interesting game here. I can't figure out. Iowa State is 11.5, 45. I love Iowa State, love their defense, love their coach. Brocco Breck's a very good quarterback. Baylor, I have no idea. Their coach should be fired for that Colorado fiasco. I've never seen a prevent defense as stupid as what he ran. It was light the cigar, he called it. I saw him get interviewed after the game, and he's like, we put 3 guys on the left and the quarterback ran right. Really? The quarterback ran away from your 3 guys? And then they had 3 guys in the end zone just standing there. The quarterback moved to the left. The defense didn't move to the left. The guy catches it. Both defenders fall down. Yeah, how fixed was that game? Prime, they got to make Prime look good so he can go coach somewhere else. And he's going to be like the coach of Dallas. Then they'll draft Shador #1. So it's like Little League. So his dad will coach him because nobody else will. So Iowa State's an A team with a 7 defense, and Baylor is a B team with a 25 defense. Over under here, 45.5. Normally, I love Iowa State unders. I don't know about this one. I don't think Baylor's got the defense. Iowa State will score on a bad defense. At worst, this is the Iowa State game, which was a 40, and this is 45. I almost think you got to go over in the game. I don't know how else to pick it. I can't take Iowa State and lay 5.5 to Baylor, and I can't. Hard to take Baylor in 17.5, although they did switch quarterbacks to Robertson, so they are scoring a little bit more. It's right. It's right at the number. It's too high to take Iowa State. It's not high enough to take Baylor. The total, I think I think there'll be scoring in the game. I think we get into the 40s. USC, Minnesota. USC 8.5, 46 to Minnesota. Where is that? Oh, okay. 8.5. Well, this was 51 to 49 to 46. What is happening in USC, Minnesota? I wish covers would update their fucking injuries, so I'm kind of blind by it. USC's been playing bad ball. I'm not impressed with their coach. This quarterback does not look like a normal quarterback that he has. He more looks like Spencer Rattler than he does the other guys. Minnesota, the quarterback came on late against Michigan. He's not very good, but maybe he's getting better. The defense is USC 17, Minnesota 15, but I look at the Michigan game, 27-24. I think that's the real USC defense, and I think they played LSU in the 20s like that. So not great defense. Minnesota, kind of a weak offense, very good defense at home. Wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota wins the game. I wouldn't be surprised if USC wins by 10. But USC is not all that. It's not very strong right now. I got them as an A statistically. Minnesota B. My line on this game was 14, and they're 8.5. Maybe you can go USC minus 2.5. I didn't play it, but if you that strong on USC, which I'm not yet anyway. Bobby Bow. Prime is the man. I thought you liked Prime, Professor. Yeah, when he was on the Dallas Cowboys. Not as a head coach, although they looked good against UCF. In regards to my LSU comment about them winning 2 straight titles, was that they would have won last year with Jalen Daniels if their defense was better. Well, obviously, there's, well, look how good he's doing in the pros. The Bears must be loving they took Caleb instead of him, right? And I still think Penix is going to be better than Caleb. He's already there. Caleb's still trying to figure out who's the center and who's the guard. And Daniels is lighting up. He lit up Arizona, who has a pretty good defense. 42-14. Are you kidding me? He lit up Cincinnati. I'm thinking he's going to light up whoever the hell they play this week. He's really good, and he gets it, right? That's the difference. That's why I bitch about quarterbacks from Alabama and Ohio State. They come in, they don't know what they're doing. You get the LSU quarterback, Joe Burrow and Daniels, and you see they already know it. It took Joe Burrow, one game, and he knew it. And Daniels, 1 game, lost to Tampa. Next week, he starts lighting it up. They know how to read blitzes. That's what he teaches them at LSU. That's the difference. That's why I talk about teams of when you're in the draft, I like avoid Alabama and draft LSU guys. Be careful with the Ohio State quarterback. You have to be careful with all that because these guys are not good coaches. It's a system thing. Alabama's a system. Look at Tagliabue. He sucks when he's not getting concussion. Or Mac Jones. I mean, yeah, he's a good one too. But then you look at the LSU guys and you go, yeah, fuck, they're a little bit better than the Alabama guys. Yeah, I don't believe too much in Caleb. Notre Dame exposed him bad, and did UCLA. He's a good athlete. Daniels is a much better athlete than Caleb. He can't really run. He doesn't give you that running scare like Milrose. Milrose, I'd say, is a good athlete. I'd say Milrose is 5 times better than Caleb at this point. But he didn't look good when they played Texas, but he got better. And can at times make something out of nothing, but that don't work against high-level defenses. Well, that's not working against low-level defenses. Wait till he plays Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit. Then they're going to get shut out. But like we always talk, Professor, these coaches and GMs don't know jack shit. But look at the New York Giants. You still have Daniel fucking Jones. Are you kidding me? Well, we're happy we got Neighbors. Well, Neighbors is hurt now, so now you still don't have a quarterback. It just blows my mind how stupid they are. All right. San Jose State, 751 to Nevada. Nevada stinks. They're an under team. 24 defense. San Jose State has the Navy coach, the Hawaiian guy. They're an A team with the 20. They both have 24 defenses. 6.5. Yeah, go San Jose State. Beat Army. Arkansas, Tennessee. Very interesting game. I watched the Arkansas A&M highlights, and I am confident A&M's quarterback sucks, and I don't really love Arkansas's quarterback. He's not as good as Jefferson. Tennessee, we know that guy's great, the freshman. 14-57, Tennessee over Arkansas. Tennessee was a little exposed, beating Oklahoma 25-15. They didn't put up 50 points. You get a little spoiled when you see them do it against NC State and these high school teams. So now this is where everything changes. Now you're in conference. I don't know that Tennessee can just go to Arkansas and win by 50 points. It's like Oregon against Michigan State last night. It's an Oregon State coach. He knows Oregon. It's a conference game. They went 31-10, but they threw 2 interceptions in the end zone driving for touchdown. They should have won 45-10. So they win 31-10, and they don't get the over. And I circled the over, and I didn't play it, and I'm lucky. Michigan State fumbled at the goal line again. They did it against Ohio State. I don't know what their problem is. This Childs, the quarterback, doesn't know how to guard the ball. He kind of carries it out. They just slap it away, and at the goal line, you can't do that. So I don't know why they don't just hand the ball off, maybe. So you got to be careful. But at Tennessee, at Arkansas, this will be an interesting game. They're both A teams statistically. With the way Arkansas looked against A&M, I don't think they're an A team. 20 defense arc, 7 for Tennessee. I'm not buying that. I'll buy the 15 against Oklahoma. So over under is 57. We're completely confused by Tennessee's defense. It's a 7 defense. So how do I go over 51 in this game? But their offense makes me go over 51. So this is another I'm going to watch. I think that they beat Arkansas, but if Arkansas won, I wouldn't be surprised. Tennessee, you play them at home against these weaker teams, just like Penn State, just like Michigan. But when they go on the road in a conference game, these are good teams at home, have pride. So you got to be careful. UCF in Florida. Here's your guy, Bobby Jefferson. Looked like shit against Prime's team. Prime team had a good defense last week, but I think it's because they just played the run and they didn't have to worry about the passing. UCF is 1.5, 62. The problem is we remember Florida from the Miami game where they looked like shit. Let's look at what's going on with them recently. Florida, they beat Old Mississippi State 45-28. Toledo beat Old Mississippi State by more. They lost to A&M 33-20. They beat Sam. I don't know who Sam is, Division II, and then Miami game. So they get killed by Miami. They lose to A&M 33-20, who doesn't really have a good thing. And then they give up 28 to Old Mississippi State. They 45-28 them. Their defense looks like shit. That much we know. I got them as a 32 defense. I got UCF as a 33 defense. So the question is, do we like this game over? The total of 60. The total of 62. We could go over 56. Do we like that? UCFs are going to run it down their throats, and Florida really can't do much. Does Florida have the offense, or do we take UCF in 4.5? The game's at Florida. Again, UCF is now they're a Big 12 team, and Florida is SEC. So Florida, as bad as they are, I have no thought of taking Florida in 7.5. It's either go over or take UCF and the 4.5. Otherwise, I have no idea. Colorado really made UCF look bad, so I don't know. Florida just stinks, no defense. My guess would be probably over. Could be a higher scoring game, but it's hard to bet anything on Florida. They're so bad this year. Kansas against Arizona State. I like this game. Arizona State 2.5, 51 to Kansas. Kansas a 30 defense. Arizona State a 22. Arizona State found the running attack. New quarterback. He's okay. His stats aren't great, but he likes to run. He's a decent passer. Kansas, Daniels, the other Daniels. He's been hurt for the last 2 years and being lit up everybody. And now he's back and he's not doing as well, but he's starting to get better the last few games. Kansas, though, with a 30 defense, Arizona 22 in the desert. Yeah, I look for points here. Hawaii, San Diego State. San Diego State 2, 47.5. This game's ridiculous. Both are under teams. Your total is 47.5. I don't understand that. This game will get nowhere near 47.5. Duke, Georgia Tech. We love Georgia Tech. Duke was down 20-7 last week and beat North Carolina 21-20 in the rivalry game. Duke's okay. Pretty good defense, which counters Georgia Tech's pretty good offense. 9.5 and 53.5. It's a tough one. I think it's a close game. I don't think Georgia Tech has the defense to hold them. They're 20 defense. Duke's a 16. I think this is a close. I think Duke can cover in the teaser. Over under Georgia Tech. We know scores, but I don't know what they're going to do on Duke's defense. They did hold North Carolina. This is a very puzzling game. Miami 10-54 to Cal. We got 5 minutes. Be careful here. Cal knows Cam Ward from Washington State. This is like the Michigan State-Oregon game. They know Cam Ward, played at Washington State. They buried him. They got to fly from Miami to San Francisco. Good luck. I think Cal wins this game. Yeah, I'm going to go out and say that. 24-21 Cal. Cal's got a 12 defense. We saw what Virginia Tech did to Cam Ward. He had like 3 or 4 picks. The bullshit call at the end. The guy's in the end zone with the ball for 5 seconds, and then the guy tears it out. The ref calls a touchdown, and then they overturn it without any visual evidence. What the fuck? I mean, that's ridiculous. So I think Cal can win this game. And our last game, our midnight game that we're up till 3 a.m. waiting for the final. Arizona 6.5, 63.5 to Texas Tech. Texas Tech beat Cincinnati, who's a very good team, 44-41. Tech has a very strong running back to go with a very strong quarterback, so they do have balance. They get 466 a game. Arizona 418. Arizona's got Fafita, who we love, good quarterback, good receiver. They don't have the running, and the defense is a 22, but I don't think it's that strong. It's not going to bother Tech. Cincinnati's defense was better than that. What was Cincinnati's defense last week? It was a 16, and they scored 44 on that. So this is a 22. Tech definitely can win this game. Arizona, I think it's a tease the dog game more than an over. It's probably an over and probably a tease the dog game. So if you need a game at 11 o'clock at night, there you go. So free pick, Old Miss, South Carolina go over 47, which to me is a joke. Play it with the Baltimore Cincinnati Pro over. That one's 48, I believe. And you go over 42. You got Lamar and Henry who are scoring, and Joe Burrow. Baltimore is not going to stop Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow finally got his win. Finally, they should have beat Kansas City. They played them to a 50. Believe me, this game's getting into the 50s. My score on the game is 27-24 Baltimore. We only need 42. Thank you very much. We appreciate when Vegas fucks up, which is what they've done here. How did they get 47.5 as a line on Baltimore Cincy? Joe Burrow and Chase, you're going to hold under what? 15 points? Are you out of your fucking mind? All right. So that is it. Again, www.teaserking.com. If you want to buy the picks, you can do what Ron did and just buy the class without coming, or the class is a private class where I need your email because it says who can watch this video, and you type in the emails and all the people with the emails get to watch the class. Make sure you, when you search me, search private, and then you'll see the video. And that's what it is. So you don't have to be in the class to see the class. But that's what's going on. So I do that Friday nights, college 7 to 8, pro 8 to 8:30 or so. And that's what we have. So those are your plays today. I had 4 locks. Well, one was Vegas yesterday, which lost, which I'm still stunned. I got 1, 2, 3 locks, 3 college locks. Right now in the pros, I have 2 locks, but it'll probably be 4 locks. Probably. I just got to check the injuries there. But I did look at the injuries. Devontae Adams wants to go play for the JETSs, and he is going. He's got a hamstring, so he's not playing. Whatchamacallit, the Crosby is questionable with the hamstring or something like that. Or he's questionable with something else. Devontae Adams has the hamstring. The Rams, we know, Pukanuka and Cooper Kupp are out. Seattle, I think the LSU receiver is out. Dallas, Micah Parsons is out, and the defensive end, Lawrence, is out. Pittsburgh, we're still waiting on Russell Wilson, but I believe he's probably not playing. If I get Fields, I bet it a certain way. If I get Russell Wilson, I bet it a certain way. KC, 4 receivers are out, Rice and a couple others. So they're getting thin at wide receiver, and Mahomes keeps throwing interceptions because the receivers don't know the patterns. They don't look for the ball properly. It's really not Mahomes' fault. What else? Frisco, Kittle's questionable with the hamstring. I believe, though, they got Deebo Samuel back. They just don't have McCaffrey back. Arizona, I don't know what's wrong with them. How they only scored 14 points on Washington and 13 on Detroit. You saw how Seattle shredded Detroit's defense. They just didn't play defense either. So that's the Detroit team I was expecting, the over team that scores a lot and gives up a lot. That's not what we got in the beginning, but I think now, and this is because they don't play in the preseason, they're ridiculous. Let's see. So I think everybody went to watch the games. All right. Okay, so we'll go over the pros tomorrow. That's college. Should be some good games. The best games of the day, we've got Missouri, Texas A&M, Navy, Air Force, SMU, Louisville, Clemson, Florida State. We got to see the new quarterback. Tennessee, Arkansas is a good game. Iowa, Ohio State, very big game, 3:30. Georgia, Auburn. We'll see if Georgia, how they are after the loss. I assume they'll be pissed off. We've got Rutgers, Nebraska is a good game. Alabama, Vandy. Iowa State, Baylor should be interesting. USC, Minnesota. The Michigan, Washington game tonight. UCF, Florida. Kansas, Arizona State will be interesting. Miami and Cal, and Texas Tech, Arizona. So a lot of good games. Not like last week with the Alabama Georgia game. We will see. I know you guys like to talk about gold. We will see. Let's go to gold. Thank you, Ron, for vacation. I get that. So the gold price, as of last night, it's closed until Sunday about 7, is 26.53. Silver 32.23, both ready to blow. Look for gold to go 3,000 and then 3,500 on October 26th when they announce it. BRICS definitely going to a gold-backed currency. I think, but 40%. So it's not 100% gold, but doesn't matter. The demand for gold, it'll move the price up, and 40% backed by gold. So I'm not sure how the difference between a 40% gold-backed currency and 100% gold-backed currency. So 60% of it will be garbage and 40% will be backed by gold. Seems really strange. Mark McGuire and his show.
Hey, Andrew, as we head into the BRICS Kazan meeting later this month, do you have any updates that you can share with us? The day after spot gold recorded an all-time record high, and that was at 26.68.90. That was the record high AM fix, that is. Last Thursday, that was, which we illustrated also printed an all-time gold futures high at 27.0870. Saw that on the charts. What I did was I met with a very large first-tier liquidity provider, who is one of only 4 liquidity providers gearing up to provide initial liquidity into this BRICS-facing mBridge platform. Now, this reaffirms that the estimated necessary liquidity has been secured, sufficient to at least kick off trade on this historical, game-changing platform after the Kazan meeting. For a full episode, just click the link below.
So let's go to the full episode. I got to watch this one. The stupidest UK prime minister in history. He's a George Soros appointee. Where's Mark McGuire?
If you have well water rings that won't go away, you need to hear about this product. Take any dirty toilet, pour in 1 scoop, and
This is mind.
All right, so let's go to the upcoming BRICS meeting.
Even if we took this level, will trigger such large BRICS central bids are hoping for a dip into these bids. We doubt they're going to get it.
All right, Andrew. Hey, thanks a lot. That really answers a lot of our community and our subscriber questions that they had here. Now, can we look at what you expect as we now progress through Q4?
Great, Shane. This is where it gets really interesting. The fourth quarter that commenced yesterday, we're recording this on, even if we took this level, will trigger such large BRICS-centric bids that it will force an even quicker move into the 3000s.
Hey, Andrew, as we head into the BRICS Kazan meeting later this month, do you have any updates that you can share with us?
Yes, Shane. The day after spot gold recorded an all-time record high, and that was at 2668.90. That was the record high AM fix, that is, last Thursday that was, which we illustrated also printed an all-time gold futures high at 2708.70. Saw that on the charts. What I did was I met with a very large first-tier liquidity provider, who is one of only 4 liquidity providers gearing up to provide initial liquidity into this BRICS-facing mBridge platform. Now, this reaffirms that the estimated necessary liquidity has been secured, sufficient to at least kick off trade on this historical game-changing platform after the Kazan meeting. Now, what is being missed by many skeptics as we approach the launch date of this platform, of this, I have to make the point, globally fungible 40% gold-backed stable coin token is backed by zero counterparty physical gold. It has to be understood. Given this platform has front-run several other initiatives also yet to roll out, including Glazier's beta-tested gold-backed commodity currency that we've been tracking for about a year and a half, it's no coincidence that the BIS had positioned itself long gold ahead of reclassifying gold as a first-tier asset class in January 2023, well ahead of its debut launch on the 22nd of October upcoming. Now, all that was missing to benchmark thousands of tons of accrued BRICS gold reserves to ultimately control the price of all currencies and assets has to be understood. This is big enough to do that. It needs to be sufficiently liquid, and this sufficiently liquid decentralized, and I will make the point, decentralized trading platform that utilizes a non-dollar denominated gold benchmark. So this BIS sanctioned mBridge 40% gold-backed stablecoin is readying to launch in just actually when you get this on Friday, it's just 12 global market trading sessions away from when this, as I say, from when you get this. And as explained to me, it is sufficiently liquid to provide the growing number of customers and the current 49 nations that applicants that want to join. And bearing in mind, we're talking about, this is a group who either produce or consume 85% of all global commodities. So what it needs to do is needs to be liquid enough to provide the necessary alternative sanction-proofed, de-dollarized means of exchange that they all seek, especially as we move into election uncertainty, sanctions, and really most worrying, unprecedented geopolitical escalations that risk dividing East from West, or worse, World War III. Now, while the US is fighting the launch of this de-dollarizing platform, for obvious reasons, we have been following remember we looked in the last couple of episodes, we looked at recent US carrot and stick attempts to rein in the Chinese BRICS gold anchor. However, these efforts absolutely ignore the fact that the BIS diverged from the Fed's dollar gold suppression scheme. At the moment, they revalued gold as a first-year asset class in January 2023. So it's really, they're on their own. And we've also been reporting, and I mean the Fed is on its own. So we've also been reporting that every single first-year bullion bank has also been going long for their own book since March 2020, when the risk of playing this 50-year long old spot asymmetric short COMEX price suppression scheme, it blew up, if you remember, into COVID refinery shutdowns.
Yeah, Andrew, I remember that you're reporting, it was back in, I believe it was March 2020 from the Live from the Vault episode, that, you know, a lot of liquidity providers, including the Swiss and the UK making bullion banks, you know, they shut shop following these massive losses back then. This is when you identified the Bank of International Settlements, which is the BIS, that brought forward the implementation of Basel III, the NSFR gold revaluation timeline.
Yeah, this left the Fed plunge protection team, PPT, is the only central bank still trying to hide the rate that the dollar is devaluing against gold. Now, it's not that gold's going up. It's just that
gold's going up.
Dollar's devaluing against gold. And they employed, but they also insured the Asian banks, first-year banks, privileged to have gold accounts with the Bank of England, so as to continue to play this lopsided asymmetric game. But as we've been pointing out, with traditional dollar bond correlations having broken down, they are deeply and increasingly offside. The Fed is increasingly offside on their long dollar short gold bets against gold. And they're undoubtedly in the process of folding their hand. So what is clear, with BRICS nations being able to take ownership of a sanction-proofed gold-backed medium of exchange, it segues into the forging of a polycentric system of international relations where we will see borders dismantled. Historical enemies will find it more equitable to trade, not fight, ultimately leading into a multipolar military alliance to secure peace in strength. The polar opposite of what NATO's aggression mandate is currently trying to do. And to give an idea of scale, even using the most conservative aggregate estimates of current BRICS nations' gold holdings, that's official and unreported monetary gold acquisitions, with the lion's share, of course, of this monetary gold is being accrued by the BRICS-related Sino-Russian Gold Alliance, which was established in 2013, but has waited for the fourth quarter to pull the trigger. Now, these unencumbered first-year physical gold assets vastly exceed the unaudited and empirically encumbered 8,000 odd tons of Fed-traded US Treasury gold. So as to easily control, I mean, it's so lopsided, they're going to easily control the global fiat gold price. Furthermore,
that's all we want to hear. Now, wars, if you really did Austrian economics, you wouldn't have wars, because there's no you like everybody because now they're customers to you. So you don't care what color, what religion a guy shot, like me. Anybody, any color, any religion can buy my picks. I don't care. I want the sale. I want the customer, and I'll treat him very fairly and very nice. That's what I want. So you don't say, "Oh, wait, he's purple, I'm not going to do it," or "He's this religion and that religion, I don't want his business." No, you want everybody. So if you have this gold-backed currency, you won't have war. Iran's not going to fight Syria or Saudi Arabia and all this. The U.S. is playing it wrong by doing these sanctions, and everybody's pissed off. That's why they're all joining BRICS. That's why BRICS is going to a gold-backed system. It's the best thing you could have. It's the most profitable, productive time in the history of the world. It was 1879 to 1914. The whole world was on the gold standard, and there was no wars until World War I, when these idiots came in with the central bank, which was totally illegal. The the Fed, and then they started World War I. And then you've had World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Cold War, Bay of Pigs, 9/11. It's all about gold. It's all about money. It's ridiculous. So this is the problem. So Mark's calling for a $3,000. Let's see. We're talking the gold revaluation timeline. So we'll see gold going up. Let's see what he explains here.
With the BRICS nations having seized control of the physical gold price settlement process, it provides the BRICS nations an option of revaluing gold. The early process of this revaluation process is already underway by stealth. We pointed that out last time. Look at what's going on. Under the noses of the mainstream media, this stealthy gold revaluation process began the very moment the BIS strategically revalued gold as a first-year asset class, as I say, on the 1st of January 2023. It was only after gold broke out above 2,000, as we saw when I demonstrated in the charts and looked at, that was in mid-February. It was only then that Bloomberg and the mainstream media deduced that the dollar price of gold was rising without attracting Western-facing EFP inflows. In fact, it was occurring into EFP outflows. And the mainstream media waking up to the fact that gold was rising, driven by global central bank physical gold demand. No sugar, Sherlock. And it's spilled out that every global central bank, except the Fed, have been adding to gold reserves, while the Fed has been caught holding a massive, rehypothecated, underwater gold position. There is only one solution: confiscation or a forced gold price revaluation. And given that the gold price is being globally settled outside of the US-facing markets, liquidity providers estimate a gold price confiscation effort would backfire against the PPT to the tune of at least $10,000 per ounce.
So what he's saying is there won't be any compensation because they can't just steal your gold. They'd have to pay you for it, and they would give you $10,000 an ounce. So they're saying, well, we're not going to compensate, so they're going to revalue it. So everybody is so worried they're going to take our gold. They're not taking your gold. They're going to revalue it.
To trigger every single central bank to repatriate every single ounce of gold loaned to the US Treasury.
Now, Andrew, the scale of this de-dollarization process is just not being reported by the Western mainstream media as like much of this information. Can you sum up what you've been reporting since gold broke out back in February, and where is this leading?
Yeah, let's just take one last quick look at the charts. So as we've been pointing out, acting as the anchor point for the upcoming BRICS currency launch, it was no coincidence that Beijing's stealthy de-dollarizing mandate stepped up significant after Beijing's well-timed launch of the Shanghai Futures Exchange on the first day of the second quarter, right here. Now, by design, these speculative futures buyers have become assistive in significantly driving up the dollar value of the over 60,000 tons of combined official and citizens' gold reserves. And although these Shanghai Futures Exchange flows were speculative, in order to satisfy this tsunami of physical demand, and it is physical, Chinese liquidity providers had to source this gold out of Western-facing, synthetically underpriced, 96% leverage COMEX futures markets. BRICS country central banks have learned to alchemize the Fed's gold price suppression mandate. And following the BIS revaluing gold as a first-tier asset class, it opened up the COMEX EFP conduit to be demanded for T+1 physical delivery, forcing this 96% leveraged unbacked COMEX gold to land fully funded into the 10 times larger NSFR-compliant deliverable FX gold markets. And because this wall of Shanghai Futures Exchange-driven global demand was being driven to fulfill physical demand outside of the CME LBMA ring fence, this gold demand impacted the Asian facing T+1 deliverable AM fixes. And that is why we've seen significantly tightening up global supply and then just locking in all all of these higher stair-step supports that we've been tracking. So since the 1st of March, each swathe of momentum-driven Shanghai Futures Exchange buying has been sufficient to elevate global fixed prices just long enough for the physical support markets to adjust to these higher prices, thereby underpinning each stair-step physical support. Now, this action, evident around the usually thinner AM fixes, telegraphs an impossible to ignore change in behavior and has seamlessly endured through the entire 7 months through the end of the third quarter. As I say, driving gold into these successive higher stair steps, which since the breach of 2600 spot, which happened after we recorded the last episode, but said these were going to get magnetized. What this did was expose the commercials forced to close short into the top of this higher range, all-time high range. And it's impossible to ignore that global central banks are surgically attacking the paper gold cartel's mantra of selling paper gold at every pit open in the hope that they can suck in enough coattailing CTAs to take the bait. Step back and look for 1 second at the longer term charts in silver and also in gold, where we 100% target $3,000 gold, which is pretty much where all of the central bank, all of the first tier banks are now targeting. While the COMEX speculative open interest, that is the number of chips that have been borrowed.
So $3,000 gold right around the corner, $3,500 gold. Once BRICS says, hey, COMEX is just about blown up. They're now pricing it on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. That's the real price of gold, not the JP Morgan price. Let's finish up.
Is historically very large and therefore extremely rinsable. Into this mix are actually a lot of sticky longs using gold to hedge risk and geopolitical market risk as well. In other words, although leveraged, they're using gold for what it says on the box. And while we would expect some CTA fresh froth to be rinsed out from time to time, which we have seen, given the Asian bank commercials can't risk adding naked shorts, they can't deliver into this an already growing wall of still undelivered T+1 overhang, meaning that when gold, as we explained in the charts, when gold gets delivered, when gold EFPs or moves into the NSFR compliant spot gold market, is deliverable. It's to be delivered in 1 day. T+1 is what we call it. So there's a massive overhang. They're still undelivered and it's accruing. And these pullbacks are limited. So to how many CTAs that really these insiders can be tricked out, can trick out, or that they can short cover into. Now, these healthy consolidative dips will continue to be shallow because it gets rid of the froth. And in aggregate, though, first-tier liquidity providers assess gold will be magnetized into at least $3,000. And that's just the next staging point, with most first-tier banks now assessing this gold price target. Almost all the first-tier banks now have gravitated up to that price level. Now, notably, the usually predatory swap dealers, that's the primary agent banks acting on behalf of the Fed, interestingly, they reduced some of their short bets and short positions into the top of the current range that we demonstrated. And really, as the physically driven move higher, it blew through both of those identified central bank buy stop levels that we looked at 2600 and 2650, evidencing these NSFR compliant central bank bids adding to the still undelivered series of T+1 delivery obligations, getting worse and worse for them. And while CTAs are coattailing them, yeah, of course they will, these physically driven stair steps higher, are underpinning them because these gold levels into the top of an all-time range are consistently being underpinned by foreign exchange and central bank buyers. COMEX-centric dips have been shallow enough to miss all but the most highly triggered CTAs. I mean, so in other words, the most highly leveraged ones. We're talking about the 96% leveraged CTA long stops. So really, pretty much all of these guys, to the degree that they can not risk digging a deeper hole, these guys pretty much done. This has offered very, very, very few opportunities for officials to actually push back. So just as we assessed in our last episode, while there is some CTA froth to yet rinse, what is missed is this offsetting huge T+1 overhang of as yet undelivered NSFR compliance gold delivery obligations that will continue to force the commercials to hedge this exposure with long spot gold positions and or to capitulate into the top of the current range, which we are seeing both of. It will not be realized, and it is exactly why we expect very strong central bank demand on any such shallow pullbacks. And as also assessed in our last episode, it's the same story in silver. These same actors are increasingly being forced to jump to the tune of massive, and I mean massive, Indian and Chinese physical demand, with much of the flow bypassing the LBMA cartel altogether. And while this is not evident to Western-facing traders, it is tightening up global supply at current prices. Even Goldman Sachs sees silver underpriced, sub $37. And we know they're long for their own book. The BRICS Kazan summit aside, there are just really a couple of other underlying bullish factors to take on board as we wind up this episode. Gold now moves into very strong gold buying season. That's auspicious Indian festivals, they commence. We've seen the World Gold Council suggesting European pension funds invest into gold versus bonds. In other words, sell bonds, buy gold. We're now evidencing this large Swiss money actually appearing into the fixes, which is interesting. So it's happening. Also, a big thanks to Dave Kranzler, who contributes a lot to Kinesis as well. A great big thanks to him for drawing my attention to the Bank of America report that gold has surpassed the euro to become the second largest reserve asset after the US dollar. This is mind-boggling stuff. Most people do not comprehend this. And if we vend this into the bigger picture, this impossible to hide official designation fails to capture the hidden 80,000 tons of monetary gold reserves the Sino-Russian alliance has accumulated. That's 40,000 tons for the PBOC, 25,000 tons of Chinese citizens' gold, and Russian and residual BRICS countries' accumulations of about 20,000 tons. Well, guys, thinking about this, there's only one question left to ask.
Yeah. How much physical do we have? So I was talking to the guy in the hot tub, and what does he tell me? Oh, well, JP Morgan just does derivatives on gold and they make a fortune. He just said that's done. There is no more derivatives that are going to happen. It's just about, there's a few froth, as he called it, whatever that means. So look out for, he's got silver at 37, but once it breaks, it goes to 50. Gold, 3,000 is what everybody's expecting, on its way to 3,500. Oil for gold, BRICS gold-backed currency. They're now putting all their pensions, Switzerland and everywhere, into gold, not T-bills. So the rest of the world gets it. So the odds on staying here are slim and none. We need to go to find a good country in Europe or Asia to go and who understands gold, because there'll be peace and prosperity there, not the bullshit we have here, where these idiots are run by George Soros are running the U.S. How good is that? So anyway, get ready. I advise to buy as soon as possible. Do not fuck around. I'm going to buy. And for all of Luke's friends who have millions of dollars in a 401k, they're all going to lose it. The dollar is gone, right? It has maybe 1%, but I don't buy that. Everybody's turning to gold. as they should, as we've been saying for 3 years. So just understand that. Go buy. I might go run and buy another 20 ounces of silver. I got the vacation, so I'll have to see. But that's the point. The silver's going. I mean, the difference is if you own a 100, it's easy to get 100 ounces of silver, and it goes up. If it went up $100, you would make what, $10,000. With gold, it's not, it's hard to get 200, 300 ounces, right? It's just so expensive. So every $100 it goes up, you have 50 ounces, you make $5,000. But in silver, if you got 1,000 ounces, every $10 you make $1,000, right? So that's the difference. If you got, if it goes up, if silver goes up $100, as it certainly should be, times your 1,000 ounces, that's 5 zeros. You've just made 10 grand. On $100, you'd make 10. I got to do my math better. It's 100. Yeah, 100 ounces times $100 is 4 zeros. So you'd make 10 grand for every 100. Where in gold, you're making 5 grand, but you only have 50 ounces where you have 100. So if you have 1,000 ounces of gold, that's what I was getting at. 1,000 ounces of silver is 5. It's 5 zeros, so you'd be making you'd make 100,000. So your thousand ounces times $100. I gotta do that better. I think you make fuck it. Now I gotta figure that out. All right, let's do the math. You got 1,000 ounces of silver. It goes up $100. 1, 2, 0, 0, 0. That goes. You make $100,000 if you have 1,000 ounces of. You have 1,000 ounces of silver, and it goes up $100. So it goes up, like we see gold going from 2,400 to 2,500. So if silver went from 100 to 200, you'd make $100,000 with just 1,000 ounces of silver, which costs you $32 an ounce. So I think the goal is to get to, the goal should be to get to 1,000 ounces of silver, because it's going to go, it's not going to be 30 much longer. It's going to go to 100 to 1,000 to 2,000. So we're going to get more money from our silver than our gold. So that's why I tell you buy either, but buy one of them. Just, you're getting out of dollars. So I think somebody asked me, well, how much should I get? It's as much as you can eat. It's ribs. Eat as much as you can eat. Don't hold back. So I think I might go buy a little bit more silver. Get that up there, because it's going to start moving. They see 37 an ounce, but even that's bullshit. Once it hits 37, it's 40, it's 50, on its way to 100, on its way to 1,000. Because once the shit hits the fan and gold gets to be 3,500, 4,000, you can't really afford it. So therefore, you go buy it. Let's take our last look, and then we'll end our class. Much more interesting than any college class you've ever been to, right? Let's see, who texted me? Okay, let's look at eBay. So 1 ounce coal, 28, about 2,800, 28.29. Maple Leaf, that's a bad auction. Let's see. 28, figure 28.25 for the Eagle. I got Cougaran 27.50, Maple Leaf 27.50. They'll be adjusted. Cougaran 27.50, Maple Leaf 27.60, Philharmonic 27.50. So about 27.50, 27.75 for these different countries. For ours, it's about 28.25. These are 1 ounces. Let's look at the quarter ounce. $7.50, $700 for the Philharmonic, $704 for the Kangaroo. I have a half ounce Kangaroo. $7.15 for the Cougaran, $7.10 for the Maple Leaf, $7.50. So the Eagle is going to be running you $7.50. The Maple Leaf, the Cougaran, about $7.20. Figure that. So they're still affordable. $700 for a quarter ounce. That's what I was trying to get to. The 1/10 of an ounce is they're about $300. 1/10 of an ounce, $306 for the Eagle. Cougaran $290, Maple Leaf $292. So $290, $300 for the 1/10 and the half ounce. I don't have as many half ounces. I've been buying either the quarters or the tenths. Half ounce, 1,400 for the Philharmonic. I see 1,330 for the Eagle. That doesn't make sense. That's probably not an accurate. Yeah, it's out of stock. So they're showing you old prices that are out of stock. That's what I thought. 1450, that's more like it. So the 1450 for the Eagle, and let's see, 1450 for the Eagle. Buffalo, 1,500 for the Eagle. Cougaran, 1412. Mostly I got the Eagle. So 1450. So you can see as the prices go up, they're not going up as the quarter ounce was 350. Then it went up to, I was buying them at 6.25, and now they're 750. They don't go up as fast as the ounces do, even though 4 quarter ounces at 750 is $3,000. But I'm paying 750 for it. I paid 722 a couple weeks ago. Now it's already up to 750. The funny part about gold is an investment. Nobody understands that it's an investment. Everybody, oh, it's not an investment. And it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. That's bullshit. The dollar can't go down anymore. It's at zero. So I don't know when they say that, what the hell they mean. And then gold going up is because of demand. All these everybody's getting into pensions, they're getting into gold, they're in all these companies. Now, demand will raise the price of an asset. So don't say it's the dollar going down, because that's a bunch of bullshit. Gold is not going up because the dollar is going down. Gold's going up because people want gold. As long as there's demand for gold, that's why the price is up. Anyway, so you can see you can still get the 1/10 of an ounce for 300, or 10 ounces of silver. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But as I stated, if you have 1,000 ounces of silver, it only costed you about 25,000 or so, right? I don't have 1,000 yet. I'm close to it, but now I might get motivated to get it. Problem is, it's easier to take a quarter ounce of gold on the plane for $750 versus 20 ounces of silver, which is worth about $600 on the plane. Or I can take an ounce of gold worth $2,800, one coin. How much silver do I need to get to that price if you're traveling, which you don't have to? Some guys in the hot tub, we got into a pretty good argument about Bitcoin versus gold, which is what I did on the video the other day, I think yesterday. And he's telling me, well, if I travel, I got Bitcoin in my wallet, so I don't carry it on me. It's in the cloud. And I just grab it, and then I could go sell it for whatever, for €1. And I'm like, but it's valued in dollars. How does it FX it and you want it in euros? Okay, maybe that happens. I don't know. I'm not interested in Bitcoin. It's a fantasy. It's a Ponzi scheme. So I'm not interested in it. But if that's the best, well, I don't need with gold. I don't need much, right? I give me an ounce or two, and it's going to 3,500. I'll have plenty to do what I need to do. I don't need to take 100 ounces of gold with me. That's the big problem. So silver, the other thing with silver is, you take, the white tubes are 20 ounces. So you can take in a white tube 20 of these. That's it. That's 20, right? So then let's say they're $100 each. So that's $100 times 20 is 2,000, right? So that would be 2,000. Or I can grab 1 ounce of gold and it'll be 3,000. So that's kind of where it's at to do it. But once silver starts moving, we're all going to make a lot of money because we all have a lot more silver because it's so I can go buy 20 ounces of silver now for $600. Right? So that gives me 20 of them. And when silver starts running times 20 versus buying a quarter ounce for the same amount, and gold starts running, that quarter ounce goes from $7 to $750, so it's a little, you only have 1 ounce, but it's a hell of a lot more valuable than silver. I do believe silver hits the 10-to-1 range where it does. Gold will be $10,000, silver will be 1,000. I think it does get to 10-to-1 because the demand for silver is huge. The biggest thing between gold is indestructible. This could be Julius Caesar's, right? Could be Roman Empire stuff. This probably isn't because it's destroyed. Silver is not indestructible like gold is. That's why everybody likes gold. You can't destroy it, and it's beautiful. Silver is nice, not as beautiful as gold, but it's nice. But silver, you can't do it. What are you going to do with it? It wears out, right? So this is probably not from Julius Caesar, unfortunately, but it wears out. So as you're digging it out of the ground and you're putting it in solar panels and it runs out, there's going to be a real shortage of silver because where gold you can't destroy, silver you can, and that's the biggest difference. That's why it's the gold standard, because you can't destroy gold, but silver you could. So there'll be silver in the BRICS gold backed currency. I guess there'll be oil too, maybe. I don't know, but it's a gold standard, which shoots the price of gold up, makes gold more valuable, more in demand, and that's what we want. And all these countries are going to join BRICS, 159 of them. Right now, there's 12 or 13. I think they're going to add some at this Kazan Summit, October 22nd, and off we go. So that's what we're looking for. Anyway, so that's what we have. So enjoy your football. I'll do pros tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and we'll go back over this eBay stuff and the gold. We'll fit it in. All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody. www.teaserking.com. If you want, you get my email there. If you want to Venmo me instead of PayPal me, feel free to, like Ron did. Longtime customer. See, I have a lot of longtime customers because when you know what you're doing and people can understand what you're doing, they stay with you because basically I do quite well picking my games and making people money. So you can see it. I mean, that's why I don't have to say it. He's been there 5 years, Nick, Bobby. I mean, all these normal regulars. All right, everybody, have a good day. Enjoy your football. www.teaserking.com if you want. I'll have probably 4 locks tomorrow. You can buy the lock 77, you can buy the Pro 75. Venmo me for 50, whatever you want to do. All right. www.teaserking.com. Good luck, everybody.